Welcome back to Time of Death. This video is for informational purposes only and in no way meant to glorify or condone violence. In today's video, we'll be discussing the murder of Pedro Sochipa. Sochipa, who went by Pete, was shot in the head July 4th, 2009 in the 3400 block of Eagle Street in Boyle Heights and died the next day according to the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office. The victim was attending a 4th of July party when there was a confrontation. He was shot during the argument and the suspect fled the scene. Francisco Javier Flores was subsequently arrested and charged with the murder. The following is the evidence at trial. On the night of July 4th, 2009, two young women held a house party in Boyle Heights. The invited guests included the defendant, his younger brother Julio, Pete Sochipa, and several of Sochipa's friends, including Miguel Rodriguez and Octavio Moran. Sochipa was not a gang member, but police officers testified that Julio and the defendant were members of the Old Pal Street Loco, and the party location was in the territory of a rival gang, but no rival gang members attended the party. Sochipa, Rodriguez, Moran, and their friends arrived at the party before Julio and the defendant, who arrived together accompanied by women. Moran testified that the defendant was staring at Sochipa. A man who didn't know the defendant but was assisting the DJ testified that the defendant arrived alone and was holding his waistband the entire time. Another party guest, who was a friend of both the defendant and Sochipa, testified that the defendant was not holding his waistband, staring at anyone, or acting as if he wanted to create a problem. Sochipa was a huge guy who was 6 feet 2 inches tall and weighed 316 pounds. The defendant and Julio were substantially smaller. Rodriguez testified that Sochipa said he was going to go ask Julio why he was staring at him. Rodriguez characterized Sochipa's intended conduct as challenging Julio. Rodriguez and Moran followed Sochipa because, as Rodriguez explained at trial, you never know what can happen. Rodriguez did not hear what Sochipa said to Julio, but Sochipa stood within inches of Julio's face. Moran testified that he tried to calm the two men. The defendant, who was standing next to Julio, pulled a semi-automatic handgun from his waistband and put it against Sochipa's stomach. Moran testified at trial that the defendant said Old Pal Gang, but when interviewed by police, he said he didn't remember exactly what he said. The victim turned to face the defendant and asked, "What are you gonna do?" Sochipa raised his hands out to the side of his body but didn't back down. Rodriguez characterized Sochipa as aggressive and hostile. Moran told the defendant to put the gun away, then reached for the gun and tried to take it away from him. The victim bumped the defendant, who responded by punching him in the face. The punch pushed Sochipa backward, but he lunged forward and drew back his fist as if to punch the defendant. The defendant raised his gun and fired, fatally shooting Sochipa in the forehead. Numerous witnesses testified that Sochipa fell to the ground and the defendant walked out of the party. Rodriguez testified the entire incident, from the time Sochipa approached Julio until the defendant shot Sochipa, lasted only about 15 to 20 seconds. The medical examiner testified that stippling indicated the muzzle of the gun was approximately 2 feet from Sochipa when the shot was fired. The defendant was arrested 4 days later at his home. In a phone call from jail a number of months later, the defendant told a friend that he was going to let his hair grow out to avoid being recognized by witnesses in court. Following the trial, the jury acquitted the defendant of first-degree murder and found the gang enhancement not true, but convicted him of second-degree murder and a gun enhancement. The court sentenced the defendant to prison for 40 years to life, consisting of 15 years to life for the murder plus 25 years to life for the gun enhancement. Pedro Pete Sochipa was 21 years old at the time of death.